What's up, co-reporters? Welcome back to my channel. It's time for a recap of what went down on Love is Blind Season 5, Episode 3. Spoiler alert, this is the episode with the major plot twist. It left my jaw on the floor, okay? Where do I begin? Okay, all right, from the top, of course. So just from the top of the episode, basically, JP and Taylor meet for the first time. They are the first couple to get engaged for this season. So hopefully that means that they are the strongest couple that we can look forward to. Listen, they seem to get along okay enough, but I feel like there's a certain level of attraction missing there. Perhaps from Taylor towards him. Like, I think she's trying to convince herself that she's more attracted to him than she is. And it's not looks based. I think, well, although she did mention something about him having a gap in his teeth. Mind you, I didn't notice the gap. I guess I'll have to look closer next time. But I think it's just the fact that he's kind of like just there. Like, he's very boring. He sits there. She's trying so hard to like make conversation with this guy, be funny, do all these things. And he's just there like, yeah, that's great. Like, that gets old really quickly. And like, ladies, how many times do you have to carry these combos and like, you walk away thinking, wow, that was great, until like you sit on it for a while and realize, wait a minute, I'm great. I'm the one that had all the energy. I'm the one that came up with all the topics. I'm the one that was like, charismatic, not this guy. I think it's going to be that kind of a situation. I think that Taylor probably needs a guy who's a lot more charismatic than JP. But again, I could just be projecting there. Okay. So we're going to have to wait and see how this relationship unfolds. Next up, we've got 24-year-old Milton opening up to his love interest, Lydia, about him having scoliosis and worrying about ending up alone and in a wheelchair with no one to love him. And Lydia claims that she would still love him and she would take care of him in a wheelchair and whatnot. Listen, like I said in episode 2's recap, I just cannot see Lydia getting a lot emotionally or intellectually out of a relationship with a 24-year-old. I'm sorry, I just do not see it, okay? She's saying all these things, in my opinion, just because she wants to be picked. She's kind of like a chameleon, in my opinion, like someone who will just like do anything. Like, oh, you say you love Pokemon, I love Pokemon and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, you love soccer, I love soccer and foosball, like she just gives me those kinds of vibes. And then they start talking about falling in love with each other. And I'm sorry, but I roll my eyes. I am just not buying it. I do think that Milton is genuine towards Lydia and that he can love her and everything. But I think that Lydia just is not yet at that place in her own life. I think she's just desperate for someone to love her, but I'm not sure she's able to love someone else because she hasn't loved herself yet. And it is painfully obvious. Okay. Now, Izzy, God, we're back to Izzy and Johnny's situation. He tells Johnny that he wants to be with Stacy instead. And then Johnny tells him that he's only saying that because he's acting from a place of fear and that he knows that Stacy is the safe choice. So that's why he's going for her. I'm sorry, Johnny, but get over yourself, okay? Like, you opened up to this guy about how you were capable of marrying someone that you're not in love with just to have a rebound. You literally called your ex-husband a rebound, okay? So I don't think that JP is going for Stacy like because you are so wonderful and magnificent, it scares him. No, it's because you are so full of red flags and he's not an idiot. So he's not going to go for you, okay? Like, so far I have not seen Stacy like say or do anything like mean or rude towards Johnny or anybody else, but I think that this is the second time that Johnny had tried to kind of like bring her down to put herself above Stacy, and I think it says a lot about Johnny, and obviously that is a lot of negative things, okay? And then she's still trying to convince Izzy to pick her, and she's like, oh, well, you know what, like, you're going for the safe choice. I could have done that with Chris, but no, I don't want to. I want to go for my true first choice, and my first choice is you. Like, let's do this together, blah, blah. And Izzy ultimately dumps Johnny nonetheless. And I gotta say, I am shocked, caps lock, SHOCKED, shocked that they didn't end up together. Because do you guys remember in the preview for this season of Love is Blind, they had these two paired as if they were the love of each other's lives, right? Like he was going to find love again with her after his broken engagement. Then she was going to find love with him after her divorce. Like they were frontrunner vibes to me. I thought they had already given it away that this was like the ultimate love connection of the season, and it was so good that they had to spoil it. But wow, come to find out, they don't even end up together. Like I was floored. And then I was kind of like, you know what? Good for you guys for not like spoiling that, and like giving us that little plot twist. We are going to have another plot twist. Trust and believe, but that was a good one to start with. And so Johnny continues saying things that are really anti-Stacy. And this time when she comes back to the room with the girls and whatnot, I'm like, girl, stop it. Like Stacy did not sabotage your relationship or anything like that. It just did not work out because it wasn't meant to work out. So don't try to bring her down because of that. She has nothing to do with you and all of your red flags. You're like freaking duvet of red flags. And she acts like she's such an expert on Stacy and Izzy's relationship, but she knows literally nothing about it. Why would Stacy tell her anything about like her relationship with Izzy? Like that would be stupid of her. So yeah, I can't. Like she needs to stop talking about this girl. Anyway, speaking of Stacy, she's next up to have her date with Izzy, and they talk about falling in love with each other. But I guess Stacy's a bit more reserved, so she doesn't want to say love yet. But she is open about the fact that she is falling for him as well. So, do you guys remember how Johnny had dumped Chris in episode 2? Well, now that she has just been curved by Izzy, she goes on another date with Chris and she explains she's trying to like save a spot on the show. It reminded me of season 1 when Jessica went for Mark after getting dumped by Barnett. She's like, oh, baby, I was confused. I was manipulated, baby, but you were the one for me. No, everyone does this every season. I think Shayna did this with Kyle as well. Like there's so much of that. And so of course, season 5, here we go again. Johnny, she tries it on Chris and she's like, I was just so confused. Like I'm always going for unemotionally unavailable guys. I thought you were kind of like the boring safe choice. And I need to kind of like work on this. And Chris is like, what? You're calling me boring? I am offended. Like what? I don't know. I gotta be honest with you guys. Like Chris, he's endearing, but he just seems like someone who's not happy. Like you see it in his face, you hear it in his voice. I don't think Chris is happy. I would even venture to say that he seems depressed to me. So I don't know that it was wise to do this show at this point in his life. Like I feel like there's something deep going on with him, and it makes me concerned, to be honest with you guys. Like I like him and everything, but that's just something I can't shake every time I see him on the screen. I just feel like he's not happy. And listen, life is hard. He's opened up about some trauma that he's gone through. Perhaps that could be what's like still weighing heavy on him, but I do hope that he's able to work through that as well. So now I have to admit to you guys, because I do, and I mentioned this in the episode 2's recap, I felt like he had like really low self-esteem, like most of the other people on this season. So it felt like Johnny was going to be able to worm her way back into his life with this like, oh, I'm so sorry. You were the right choice the whole time. I'm always choosing emotionally unavailable men because of this, because of that. But thank God he did not like fall for the bait. Like the second choices always fall for the bait. Mark fell for the bait. Who was second choice in season 2? I think it was Kyle who fell for the bait. Season 3, who was it? I can't remember who was even in season 3. Season 4, it was Bliss. Like there's always someone falling for the bait of being like second choice or whatever. And so I really thought that Chris was going to go for it. But thankfully he's like, he wasn't going for it. Johnny was so desperate to be engaged to this guy that after pouring out her heart to him, that like she had just dumped him the other day because she felt like he was boring. She's like, so do you think we're ready for an engagement? Girl, what? Why would he be ready for an engagement after you just dropped this bomb on him and you dumped him the other day? What? Like she's so unwell. I'm sorry, girl, but you need help. You're really weird. So anyway, speaking of kind of weird, Aliyah and Lydia. Okay. I liked this friendship at first. I said it was awesome. They're both girls, like building each other up and whatnot. But then it starts to get like dramatic. I'm like, why are you guys always dramatically crying like you're within an inch of your life over these people that you don't know, you've never seen, you've been talking to for a couple days? Like, you guys seem unstable as well. Like, stop. She's like, Lydia, I'm so scared. This is not like, a horror movie. This is just like a dating relationship, whatever thing, okay? Of people that you've never met, you don't know. It's only been a couple days. If it doesn't work out, you're gonna survive, Aliyah. Okay, you're a nurse. You've seen a lot worse than this. You're gonna be fine, Like, just the dramatics was too much for me, And like, if you're this freaking, should I say triggered or affected? I think affected is the word I'm looking for, by someone you literally do not know, that you're like sobbing all the time, sliding down walls, and I'm scared. Like, you might need to like work on yourself a little bit more before participating in a show like this, because it's giving unstable. So anyway, she has her date with Uchi again, and he shares a romantic poem that he had written for her. And this is something that they had connected on. They're both poetry writers and lovers and whatnot. And she really appreciated the poem that he had written for her, and told him that she felt a lot of trust and honesty with him. And Uche decided to give her a reason not to feel that trust and honesty with him, because guess what? It's time for the ultimate plot twist to be dropped on our poor Aliyah. Uche at this moment tells Aliyah that one of the girls in the pods is his ex. And then we get the drum roll, the tenseness, the this, the that. And he goes, it's Lydia. And I'm like, oh no, not her pod bestie. What are the odds that Uche has an ex here? And the ex happens to be his number one contender's pod bestie. Like, all of this just fell into place a little too perfectly. We don't get details of his relationship with Lydia yet. We're going to get that in episode 4. So subscribe now if you haven't already for a video on episode 4. But oh my God, the way my heart dropped for her, I'm like, all right, Aliyah, now this is a pretty good time to actually do your dramatic crying for once, okay? But my God, I just cannot imagine how I would feel. It's like, if it's anybody else that you're not connecting with, whatever. But the one girl that you've been crying to about this man day in and day out, that you consider to be your bestie, your sister, your mama, like your ultimate support system, foul. I would feel so freaking violated, not only by Uche, but by Lydia as well. I'd be disgusted, to be honest with you. I'm like crying my heart out over this man. Meanwhile, you've experienced this man, you've dated this man, and you're not even telling me. Like, I would feel so stupid. And I don't like to feel stupid. But wow. Guys, what did you think about the plot twist? Do you think they did it on purpose, let both Uche and Lydia on the show? Because I know they do extensive background search on, like, dating history and whatnot. And if they dated very recently, it doesn't make sense that it wouldn't have come out from either of them. Either way, make sure to let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.